And we're off to the races. Welcome to the actual first recording of what we're going to be calling the Cursed Cast, because the Scuffed Cast was already taken. I am here with Agrios
Honestly, I
X.
find it. Yeah, it's me. Hello. I don't want to be here.
Shut up. I asked if you wanted to join, and you said, hang on. I did not put you
I'm
under
being held against my
duress.
will. Don't believe anything he's saying.
I don't have a will. Anyways,
What is wrong with us?
good question. A lot of things,
Next
honestly.
question.
Yes. Are we just
Right
gonna
then, I need to.
you just immediately get political on this damn cast?
You already know America's shit. We don't gotta say it.
Yeah, but like, it's an
No.
easy talking point.
You're gonna get nuked on the first cast.
And it's only where we only get canceled if we're objectively wrong. Oh, enough.
Um.
I had exactly enough blocks. You know I'm right, and I'm right, and you know it.
Not really.
Eh, close enough.
Okay, I got a template.
Um,
You know, you started this and you don't have any topics at all.
no. Again, if the scuffed cast wasn't taken, that's what this would be. But nope, it's cursed.
I find it harder to believe that the curse cast isn't taken.
I wouldn't doubt if it is, but if it is, I haven't heard of it. So don't add us.
That's you, anyways.
Eh.
Haha.
No, fuck it, why not? You've been working on like how many stories in the past whatever?
Oh, I have at least 3 different concepts at the moment.
Only 3?
I'm sure there's more, but my brain just hasn't. These are just the 3 most solidified ones.
Fair enough, fair enough. But like in all honesty, I have more than the stories. I've got like a whole damn multiverse. Like it's not even a multiverse. Multiverse is the wrong term. Multiverses is the correct term, and not the new game by Warner Brothers coming out. You should get it free on Twitch drop. Not sponsored.
It's no.
What is wrong with us?
Why are you being cringe?
But that's just how I am. I'm being cringe. I'm gonna lose subscriber.
Not you.
You sure? Just empty this. I can't just empty the tank. But so what was like the concept of your like main thing again?
Oh, Arcadia?
That's the one. That's the bitch.
Okay. So, it's basically starring a group of young adults, which I say young adults relatively here because
If you had to like compare the
it's a
ages
magical
to
fantasy world, so
like if you had to
ages
compare like
vary.
the if you had to compare the ages, like what reference would you give as a comparison for their ages?
Reference?
Like My Hero, or like some point of reference for how like what their ages are. Like like if you take the main cast of like a show or game or something and use that as like an age reference.
Well, they'd be like young adults. They'd be like
More, so you say would you
from
say
late
more?
teenage years to young adult years on average. So in
Would
scale,
so go on.
hmm.
I was just about to ask, would you consider like Persona 5 to be like a good example, like a good scaling
No,
example?
they're younger than that. They're too young. They're around 16 there. We're thinking maybe the youngest member of this cast is around 17, but the oldest is around 23.
Hmm. I get you. I get you. I don't have enough
Yeah.
tomatoes for my
There
damn
is
spaghetti.
mainly a cast of around 8 characters from what I have planned in mind so far. And it's based in this magical fantasy world known as Womer.
It's not called Arcadia. Cinema
Hey, we get to
Sins,
the name drop later.
Cinema Sins reeling in the background.
Hold on, we need a ding noise.
You're gonna have to be the one with the soundboard. I don't know how to do none of that. I don't even have a launch
It's
pad to
really easy
actually
to do.
do
You,
this.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
grab
but
a
like
dang block.
consider I'm lazy.
No. Yeah, too lazy to get the free editing program Kden Live.
What about the free program voice mod?
You see, that has a paid option, so it's not cool enough. It doesn't got the drip. Get it right, Ruby. Come on.
Drip.
Drip.
You've made so many drip jokes about your fucking dripstone farm. I've just become dumb. Look at what you've done. I love whenever I make the spaghetti recipe, it just flings the excess bowl out of the fucking pot. But yeah. Anyways, the world of whatever it's called, I immediately forgot.
Well, Mayor,
That's the one.
thank you for being so, yeah. We're not very good at this.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Um, so
Immediately.
give
Oh,
me a second to pull this up. Just give me a second to pull this up.
actually getting your fucking script. Oh no, you're laughing because that's what you're actually doing, isn't it?
I'm not pulling up a script yet.
You're pulling up your fucking lore building template or whatever.
Yes, I am. I'm pulling up my info page.
Oh my fucking lord. The info page, which you can find in the description. Probably no. Probably not. Probably not in the description.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of spoilers.
That's also true.
Well, actually, the info page wouldn't be spoilers. It'd just be like world building stuff. So I guess technically, yeah, it would
So
be
cringe.
spoilers. All right.
But yeah.
So basically, the synopsis of this is it's a magical fantasy world, yes,
Urban fantasy,
and
technically, but yes.
it's kind of medieval times. So
Medieval. I hate how medieval is spelled.
I when I was younger, I would always spell it with an evil as an EVIL instead and not EVAL.
No, I'm saying that I'm talking about how it's pronounced or how it's spelled like medieval or whatever. Again, English is not a language. It's three languages in a trench coat beating up other languages in the alley for spare grammar. I immediately got sad as soon as I
So
remembered where I
basically,
heard that from.
so basically, got this world in manner. And for the most part, there's around. Let's see here, how many do I have planned for kingdoms at least? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main kingdoms.
Kingdom? That sounds like a government I can overthrow.
And typically when those kingdoms and the areas outside of the kingdom's rule, there's also tribes. AKA small towns that don't really fit within a kingdom, but kingdoms being governments, they say, okay, if you're not in our kingdom, then you're a privileged little.
So they're like the boomers from fucking Fallout New Vegas. Label outsiders as savages. Raining high explosive ordnance upon ignorant savages.
Yes, so basically, yeah. So outside of, so many of these tribes either have a neutral, or they have a positive stance towards the kingdoms, or they have a negative stance. Some of the tribes are allied with, and some of the tribes are warring against some of the kingdoms. And then there are some other groups, which you're going to be, the main story is going to be focusing on one of these other groups. Which I have not gotten a full solid name of the group yet. But I am debating on calling the group Scudaria. And you can edit this in if you want, Ruby, but I'll spell it out in the chat for you.
Oh, I thought you meant like the Discord chat. Or the server chat. I forgot you were on I sent it on the server because I'm too lazy to edit.
Lol, get mad.
No.
So, you may be wondering how this relates to what I said earlier about the characters. Well, now I'll explain. About the characters' ages is what I'm talking about. I'll explain it now. Basically, normally this group is composed of some older individuals, people who are adults who have seen a fair share of the corruption in the world, because this group focuses on taking down those who they consider corrupt. In air quotes there.
So you're telling me they're going to be raining high explosive ordnance upon ignorant savages?
Basically.
Nice.
So, to put it in the extreme, this is a group basically who targets any government, any
based
ordinance that's not
so you're saying
in their views.
I'll shut up.
Shut up.
Fine. Keep talking then.
Yeah. So this group is basically targeting down any group any system, anything that they don't find just.
Vibe check.
And this is the main group we're going to be focused on because it's the group that the main cast is a part of.
All right.
Now this cast. Now, normally all of the normally when they have smaller groups within these main groups. This main group here of Scudaria, because I seriously don't have a term for it yet, but I'm just gonna go with Scudaria.
Them's the ones, basically.
Yes, basically. Yeah, Kriv with my amazing skills of finishing generation, known as key smashing and then adding vowels.
Oh, I know that fucking. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Because I've asked you to make a character name for me with that tech.
Yeah. Good luck pronouncing any of those names.
I already managed to pronounce her name, alright? I've done it numerous times.
For now.
Threat?
So, they have smaller sectors of this group within the main group. And so, we could probably break it down even further. And so there's like teams, typically composed of 8 individuals. Oftentimes it'll be like all of the species, like one of every species. Okay, there's 9 different species, so that's an issue. Don't worry, I give my plot holes so they have room to breathe. My characters have room to breathe. They're stuck in a jar known as plot. It has pockets.
It has pockets.
Thanks, it's pockets. Anywho.
Anyways. Moving right along back to the actual plot talk.
Plot? What plot?
You right.
And I don't even have a basic script yet. Like, these
scripting.
are all 3 of my main series are in very early development. I have some characters fleshed out, some groups, and some locations, themes, and stuff like that. I don't really have any plot going into it. I have a general idea of how I want to go, but nothing's set in stone. Nothing's written down at all.
Any plot that I might come up with is just gestures vaguely at a bunch of characters. You know what I mean?
Gestures vaguely at a bunch of characters. So here's my new way of giving them trauma.
Hey, I don't actually give my characters trauma.
Not yet.
No, not yet. I just straight up don't. I am an enigma. I am an outlier and should not be counted.
Isn't your main man stuck in limbo for like 10 years, even though it's like 10 minutes in reality, and then went insane?
He pulled a Professor Paradox. He went insane for so long that he grew bored of it and became very sane. I wouldn't call that trauma.
I have reached levels of insane that made me rendered I have reached levels of insane that has rendered me immune to insanity. I have reached an equilibrium of insanity that has rendered me sane. I don't remember how the saying goes, so I'm just gonna go spout random bullshit. Go.
No, the Professor Paradox quote I fucking memorized. It is like, he goes on about how he went insane. It's like, but then I grew bored of that too, and then became quite sane.
Anywho.
You know, before
Typically,
even with that,
the smaller groups that.
not much Anyways, go on. Sorry, I'm.
No. I insist.
I'm a bumbling fucking moron. You should not allow me to fucking interrupt you.
Well, too fucking bad. I have crippling anxiety.
No, same. In time, and a lot of times, yeah, same.
Yeah. Anywho, Scudaria, you know, these main groups within the main group, and you got the smaller groups out under it that's like teams. Now, they have this special section here, which is a bunch of test teams. One of them is the main cast.
As you do.
Now, normally their teams are like older adults, because typically those are the ones that actually, well, typically those are the ones, let's just face it, adults are adults.
Adults are oftentimes cringe.
Yes. Says that adult.
Shut up. Fucking dox me on chat.
Haha.
On live.
Oh, boo-hoo. I gave a minimum bracket for your age.
Yeah.
Haha. So back to business.
Back to the beeswax.
Yes. Most of the groups are adults because the younger ones are still in training. They're still training to be good fighters. But this is a test group experimenting with putting out members on the field younger than normal to see if they would grow to be better fighters or not. So, like, real life experience kind of situations.
So more than a school would give
Sounds
you. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like school, but murder is a lot more common and a lot more legal.
Bold of you to assume murder is illegal in school.
I mean, I have witnessed some murders in my life.
Hey, yo. We don't have time to unpack all that. Yes, I'm pulling a John Mulaney. Continue before I run out of memes.
I know. I'm just thinking, getting my thoughts together. I'm not good at speaking yet.
Oh no, you're thinking.
Be prepared
Prepare for trouble.
and make a double.
To protect the world.
Okay, let's not do that entire bit right now. As much as I want to, we are on podcast.
That's true. I mean, I'm just running back to base and I see the massive fucking root just climbing into the sky.
Yeah, I forgot a string.
Just leave
It's
it.
going up. It's
It's
going up to
going up.
EBDB.
No, EBDB affectionate.
EBDB affectionate. What's the opposite of EBDB?
Good question. Next lore dump.
Ye to be?
Okay, get back to the fucking lore, damn it. Just get back to the lore, for fuck's sake.
Okay, going back to lore for a second.
Preferably for longer, but okay.
So you got this younger cast. So the main character we'll be focused on, their name is Lotan. It is spelled like this.
I am on the wrong server. What was that about
Like this.
unpronounceable names?
Okay, look, Lotan's like the easiest name to pronounce in like the whole cast. Not true, there's like two others easier to pronounce, but...
Is that a challenge?
Yeah, it would be... Because I'm too lazy to pull up the Wikipedia guide. That's how you would spell... That's how you would pronounce it in English terms. And so basically, they're the leader of the group. In this world
He's
that
the
I
leader of the
am...
You know
Is in...
who you are.
Is... I need to shove it in hydraulic press.
What?
Don't... You won't understand that joke, because even I don't understand.
When your jokes are so obscure and out of nowhere that not even you understand. It's like how do you defeat someone who can read your mind and predict your next move? Don't know what the fuck you're doing,
don't.
so not you can't predict my next move when even I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Both of you assume I ever think.
Hey, don't be quoting my inner monologues, okay?
Haha. Snatched your thought. Mr. Steal your thought.
Agrios, please shut up and continue your fucking lore. Stop saying shit that's unintentionally out of pocket, please.
I didn't clock my mind to make the joke until I said it the first time around. Okay. So we have Loden, and they're the leader of the group. Now, Loden's been doing this for the longest. They're the one who survived. They're the one who has survived the longest.
Current objective: survive.
And the first member of the cast, which will be there at the beginning, it's one of the few members we'll actually see at the beginning. because this is falling directly after a tragedy, which will not be expanded upon until at least season 2, but we're looking at around season 3.
I don't have.
I have seasons in mind yet, no plot. Let's go.
Nice. You remind me of myself sometimes, and I don't mean that as a good thing.
You remind me of myself, /negative.
Yes. Kamikaze by words.
Yes, so
Anyways.
at the beginning of the story, we're going to be focusing on how they have to they're basically not doing members that have grown up in the group, but have already existed and, is currently living amongst the system and has more real life experience with the system than those trained exclusively under the group. Now, don't get me wrong, this group is definitely corrupt a bit. Like, a lot. I mean, really, it's them literally just saying, okay, fuck you, fuck your justice system, we're taking it in our own hands.
The man's really went, fine, I'll do it myself, and then did.
Yes. And they're in a very awkward position with all the kingdoms and tribes and stuff, because on one hand, normally the people who they actually like bust are horrible people and things like that. It is
normally
speaking, yeah. On the other hand, they're also kind of like overturning their rule and upholding their own sake.
On one hand,
so
overthrow the tyrants. On the other hand, overthrow the government.
Yeah, they're at a very shaky position with the kind of government, with their like situation here. So, people in general, like higher ups, do not view them in a positive light, but like, you think like a common street thug would think of them very positively.
The corrupt government doesn't like the anti-government group. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, this is basically an anti-hero government. They're not heroes, but they're still for the good. If that makes sense.
See, I don't know if you're confusing anti-hero with anti-villain, which is actually a thing.
They don't have the characteristics that would make them heroic. Like they may do like criminal means, but they are like going for an overall good.
Are they like surface level, like doing bad shit, but like if you look at it with the any means necessary, like ends justify the means, then they're doing good. Is that kind of their thing?
Yeah, that's basically it.
So that's more of an anti-villain, because like, is their end goal genuinely?
They lack the heroic qualities that would. They lack the heroic qualities that would justify them as a hero.
So then the group is an anti-villain group.
I guess.
I actually had
Look, I'm not very good at words, man.
I had to learn that terminology, but basically an anti-villain is, well, an anti-hero is objectively a hero despite what they do. An anti-villain group, it would be more like on the surface they are evil, but like if you look with hindsight, and like if you know what to look at, then you can see that they're truly going out for good.
They're a very morally gray group, so it's very hard to like properly define it. At least for me, it is.
I still feel like anti-villain is still a good like way to define it.
Yeah, so for lack of a better term for now, they're an anti-villain group. I am going to be right back. I have to go do something real fast. I'll be back in maybe a minute.
While they're doing that, I might as well give us some context for what the fuck I'm doing over here. I got dripstone lava farms. These are like 32 buckets, I'm pretty sure, per thing. I got all my shit to pour out over here. I've got andesite alloy. We get this mod pack is mostly create and then immersive engineering because that's like the major mods. Create, IE, items aplenty, supplementaries, create add-ons. How do I? Let me turn on my volume since it's not here. It'll fill the void a little bit. The music. I forget that the music fucking breaks. Hang on. Currently, trying to make a fucking blaze blood font over here. I was using diorite to measure exactly how much.
I returned. I had to go do something.
Oh, welcome
and
back.
I apologize.
I was giving a small tour of what the fuck I was doing on my end while you were out. Anyways, welcome back. I think one of your villagers got reinfected.
Yeah, it happens. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and probably infect them all later on, later down this week. I have not taken an address yet. I gotta go do that. And since I'm gonna expand it anyways, it's easier just to get it all done at once.
You could also.
If you want to go ahead and move the arc furnace over, to maybe the right side, like maybe to the left of the tunnel by the blaze, that would be great. Anyways, back to actual podcast stuff.
Back to lore.
Back to lore.
Back to the lore.
We had the main group of Scudaria. We got a group inside the group, and then a group inside the group. Basically, Scudaria's main focus is, taking down those who they perceive as corrupt. Their overall goal is to find a semblance of Arcadia. Just have the world as an Arcadia.
Oh, name drop. Roll credits.
Name drop, let's go! And for those who do not know what an Arcadia is...
That's a good point. I don't think you ever actually told me either.
I mean... It's basically a utopia.
Except a utopia, it comes from the words for good place and no place. Little trivia that I know.
It's basically a utopia in, like, a type of utopia in mythology. Not mythology, in, like, Greek and stuff. It's like a harmony with nature kind of utopia. So, it's not like the utopia where tech and stuff, it's more of they are in balance with nature. There's not no overwhelming predominant evil force and the world is at balance with nature. For lack of being able to describe it better, that's what an Arcadia would be. A utopia in semblance with nature. Like harmony with nature.
Hang on, there's a phone ringing. Keep the cast busy while I'm...
Oh. That is basically their goal. The group wants the world to become an Arcadia. Now, how does the main character follow up on this? Why can't I speak? Well, they've been in this group a while. They are conditioned to these views, but they're also they're one of the more talented members. it's essentially a better than average member of the group for the younger generation. So they're put into this test group of trying with younger members to get real world experience to become better fighters than they could if they were simply just to stay home and train and train and train and train. So when we start out, there's only 2 members of the group, where there would normally be 8 to 9. It's not explained until later on. We're thinking around season 3 why the number is so low. But that's where we're starting out, and it will be going to gain the first new member of the crew. The other member is a man by the name of Delvar, of what I've named him.
You named him what?
Dalvar.
I love how I ask you that even though I was just overhearing you on my fucking headphones all the way across the hall.
I put it in the Discord for you to go ahead and show on screen if you wish.
Oh, I don't know. I probably could show a live chat thing, but I'm just gonna. I would just have to transfer it to game chat because I'm lazy.
I mean, technically, you could just have a display window and having it like crop out the section of general.
I could probably on the thing. There's a chat widget on the fucking side, but it's just.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in post. We'll figure it out in post.
No, there is no post. I'm gonna upload this just immediately.
I mean, is that not post?
That's posting, but that's not what. Shut the fuck up.
So, Lotan and Galvar are going to be going out to gain the first newer member of the group. Now, normally, a member of the group would be selected from among the current trainees. However, they want to test if they can get younger talented members from across the world that have experienced the system and can see and find out mini crop systems that they would normally not be able to get under their rule. The reason they want to do specifically younger members for this is, drumroll please, brainwashing!
Ah, yes. So they're putting him through school.
Basically.
We're just throwing right hooks at U.S. in general.
I mean, no one likes the US anyways, it doesn't matter.
The capitalists like it. The capitalists derogatory like it. I mean, we're
but saying the
capitalist
derogatory implies there's a good capitalist, which does not exist because it is a socialist system. But this is not the point of the podcast.
I mean, technically, everyone in the U.S.
Ruby,
is
let's not get into politics right now.
No, I will finish my fucking sentence because technically everyone in the U.S. is a capitalist, regardless of whether or not they like the system. You're a capitalist whether you like it or not. If you're American, you're a capitalist against your will, or you're rich. There is no in between.
Rich. You're either a capitalist or dead. There is no in between.
Anyways, this is why I suggest we should eat the rich. Slow boiled over medium heat on a double boiler.
Long ribs, short ribs.
The flesh of federal officers. Everything gets grilled.
Everything gets grilled.
Anyways, Badger quotes aside, get back to the damn lore.
Fine. But I did mention this is a magical fantasy world, meaning there is magic that everyone can use. It's built in their very being. If they were not to have this magic, they would be the equivalent of brain dead. If you were like just scoop out every ounce of magic and prevent it from ever entering the body, they would be brain dead. They're essentially dead.
It's like Owl House almost.
if there is no magic in their beings, they simply, their body would not be able to handle
They
the shock.
perish.
It would be so overwhelming, they would just simply collapse. Magic is in literally everything. And I'm partially sure that the pressure of having no magic when acting upon the force of magic all around you and kind of pushing on you would probably collapse your body anyways.
Fun.
So you know how like sometimes the sky likes to do that thing where it just like, okay, some days are more pressure, other days are less pressure.
Maybe. Go on.
Yeah, that's basically how you can view how the magic shifts overall. Some days there are more magic in an area, other days it just kind of shifts. You know, and there's more pressure. So, you know, physics do kind of work a bit differently because of this extra pressure. But this is generally how it's going about it. But I have actually developed quite a bit of the magic system. There are still a lot of kinks, and a lot of things are subject to change, so take everything I say here with a grain of salt, which you should have been doing everything considering this is, like, pre-alpha, basically.
Pre-release alpha.
Yeah. But on to magic. I have sorted it into magic groups, which is primary, secondary, and tertiary.
I remember this.
Within primary, there are the groups physical and metaphysical. Physical is basically everything related to physical form, and metaphysical being everything else that's not physical. Most of the time, people are metaphysical, because there are more metaphysical categories than there are physical. Now, on to the secondaries. The secondaries are only on the physical, which is Virtus, Corporis, and Mentalia, which currently is based on Greek, so I will probably be changing it to these names later. Because I literally just went Google Translate, okay, Greek translate this word, and we'll get something like that.
I thought you said
so
Google
it will most
Translate.
likely be changing later. And they were Greek.
They were Greek. Are they, Greek? Oh, what was that meme with the ancient teapot that you sent me once?
A teapot from the 1800s. I would have to find it.
Didn't find
it. Okay, I don't got it. Anyways, I'm too lazy to find that right now. I'll get it to you later. And under physical secondaries, Virtus, which is, to explain it, Virtus is everything related to strength, endurance, and overall improvement of one's physical abilities. Corporis is the changing of one's physical state. So, like, if you were to phase through walls or have a transformation of your body part, say, like, growing claws or something like that, that would be corporis. And then mentalia is essentially the altering of one's mental state. The reason why that is classified under physical is because it's directly affecting the brain's ability, typically. Dishes are put away. Ow. I'm sorry about the interruption. Because she does not knock. The heathen.
And they will perish.
So we got... Yes. And then in the metaphysical secondaries, there are, your typical elemental categories, basically. Pyro, Terra, Aqueous, Wendilium, Naturalis, Stildilium, and Illuminaris.
Are you sure you're not
Pyro is
speaking?
everything related to.
I feel like you're just gonna summon something if you keep saying these words.
Pyro is everything related to fire. Terra, everything related to earth. Aquas, everything related to water. Windilium, air and wind. Naturalis, the natural world, so plants and animals. Sildilium is metallurgy, essentially. So we have the metals.
Dwarves.
It's yes, and then Luminaris is everything related to light or the lack
I am a
thereof.
dwarf and I'm
I'm
digging a hole.
digging a hole. Now on to tertiary, because this is where it starts getting wonky.
This is where the fun begins.
Yes.
You
Now
fucking
there would normally
hesitated.
be a lot more tertiary categories, but I don't actually have all of these listed out yet. So this is a general rule of thumb. Like, I have one physical tertiary written out. And it's just for the one under Caporus, because that's what the main character Loden is under. And essentially Meldalium, which is the alteration of one form. So this would be specifically like changing your state. And then under metaphysical tertiaries, we got telekinetic, which is manipulation of the world around. So you can manipulate fire. You can't conjure it, but you can manipulate it.
So like
Vaporis is actual summoning. So this would be where you would conjure fire and people through the balls. Amorium, which is is basically the augmenting of oneself through the summoning or of magical armor and or weapons. So if someone were to make water armor, that would be Armorium. If they were to make a fire site, that would be Amorium. Then there's Forcilium, which is the altering of forces of the world. So if one were to have a gravity-related ability, that would be a Forcilium.
yeah, didn't I ask about like the whole gravity magic or something back when you were first working on magic?
You were
systems?
asking about anti-magic.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. Sorry.
Which I can explain that, but you will have to wait a bit.
Fair enough.
Modus is essentially the improvement of one's mobility, essentially. Which you would think, yeah, that would be under physical, would it not? There is an alternative term for that I have not written down yet. This is one that is specifically done through the use of these abilities, like these metaphysical abilities. Because it is like, say, one could conjure fire wings on their back. And then there's Saporium, which is essentially being able to improve one or another's abilities through your own. It's basically buffing. Or nerfing. Actually, no. A nerfing is Aporium. Know the difference. Saporium, buff, Aporium, nerf. Which these may change, again, take it all with a grain of salt. But, you know. Now, when one says when one is improving their magic, they're essentially making it more dense and in turn kind of improving their internal reservoirs through that. It's like if you were to grab a piece of metal and you were to melt it down and you beat it into a square, and then you were to melt it again and then you were able to dense it into an even smaller square. There's still as much metal, it's just becoming denser and denser.
Yeah.
And that's essentially how you're going to improve your abilities. You're going to make your the magic is, when you think of magic, think of atoms. Because magic is essentially building a world alongside everything. So, think of atoms, and they kind of manipulate them. There is several pores across the body. Typically, you cannot see it at all. But boy, does it prove a funny spectacle when you die.
Hmm.
I could not have gotten more grim in that moment. I'm sorry.
There's a fucker outside with a damn motorcycle. I don't know if that's picking up the mic, but
It
don't change that I can fucking hear him.
is currently. I have to go quickly do dishes. I'm gonna be back
Oh,
maybe 5
fun.
minutes. I'm sorry about
Alright.
this.
Nah, that's good. And they're gone. Turn my volume back up. Oh, it's raining. I love rain. Don't at me. I will actively avoid sleeping to skip rain if I can help it. But yeah, I should be able to get all this shit set up. Got my boy here. I've got my food. Yeah, I don't got the damn bowls. Oh. Oh. Nourishment. 3 minutes. We got Bonjour. Spawner mod, which lets you silk touch spawners. Everything has a 5% chance to drop a spawn egg. You can also make the spawner key, which can be given mending because it has like 5 durability. Yeah, I'm doing this to make blazing blood, which I tested this on a creative world. It's just like a general creative testing world. Um, and I found out if you pipe the blazing blood back into the fuel tank, then that will just create like a perpetual motion machine. I could also probably do to keep that one pipe off. Yeah. I got all my kangaroos here. I think that's theirs. Well, technically two other people who usually play on this server. One played at least once. The other one hasn't really been on that hot minute, but they just doing their own thing. Like, they're online right now. Yeah, this is pretty much the setup I used. This is to output any blaze eggs. This was here to check for mob spawns, because if I break this and then I ring it, and all those spots are places mobs can spawn. Where's the lever? Where's the lever? Good. I found out that if you turn this off, it toggles, but yeah, that's why I have this here. I didn't realize that. Yeah, there we go. So if I put this down, yeah, I'm gonna take that off as soon as I get all this stuff put in. I'm gonna leave that there as like the linchpin, but I'm gonna keep this disconnected for a while so I can. I know this is a valid size, so internally this is gonna be 9 by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has to have corners because that's how the foundry would be like. The foundry. This is actually Tinker's construct, if you couldn't tell. 1.18 version has a lot of different stuff like vein hammer and the sledgehammer. They don't have different sword types. They have like a lot of different tools. They don't have any bows. The shurikens got nerfed into the ground. You can only make them out of flint and quartz, and then again, the flint is better for damage and knockback, while the quartz is better for range. I'm going off on a ramble, but it's a fucking podcast, so. Stay I'll grab a blaze egg. Yeah, the setup that I've got going, it will not only melt all of the blazes into blazing blood, it'll also melt. Um, I swear I thought you could melt blaze rods into blazing blood. Huh. What the fuck? Oh my lord. That scared the fuck out of me. But yeah, blazing blood. I guess they don't drop drops. I guess they don't do normal drops when they get melted. Cause I swear you could make blaze rods return. Because they were only dropped. Oh wait a minute! It's because blaze rods are killed by player. Can you stop that? I'm trying to. Oh my lord! It's going feral out there. Oh, that's probably why I got the achievement. I have a man in here. Right, that makes a lot more sense. Anyways, with this farm, not only will we get ourselves an infinite supply of blaze rods and also magma cream, but we're also gonna have like an infinite supply of the best fuel because blazing it's just generally really good as a fuel. It melts diamonds. It can alloy manolin, and it also has a speed modifier. So yeah, all we would need is a little bit of lava to like kickstart. Can you quit? All it would really take is a little bit of lava to kickstart everything. Actually, that's yeah, I measured out all the glass that I was. That's what I was doing with the diorite earlier. I was measuring. I really went. Be like, time to measure this bitch. Oh. One of these days we're gonna get fucking political, and I will not apologize for that. I'll also not apologize for having objectively, like, not incorrect opinions on shit. Oh, the temptation to get political while they're gone. I'm not going to, though. I'm not gonna fucking thrust that fucking. I'm not gonna. They're not gonna. I'm not gonna have them come back to be like, "Hey, we're political now." You know. I'm a writer, and by that I mean I stare at empty pages for a while. By that I mean I have a lot of stuff in my head, but I don't like that it doesn't put itself on paper. Two. Oh, it doesn't. Just need a this. Like that. But stick the bell in the front here. Actually. It should still light up the inside. Yep. And then I need the fucking blaze again. Hang on. Okay, let me. I didn't grab the key, which was gonna fucking supercharge. So many Discord messages. Eh. Yeah. The key lets you toggle. First of all, it lets you toggle spawners on and off. You can also toggle spawners with the lever with the right. You can right-click a spawner to get the egg out of it, which is overpowered if you find. Because Young's mineshaft has a certain structure in it that has a zombie villager spawner, which is just infinite fucking curing. What did I come here for? Oh yeah. I still have no experience because I put it all on that XP tank, as I had done at least once when I started recording. Because it's just safer that way. And despawns as soon as I walk up. Let me... Ow. Hey! Oh yeah, because it has like no fucking boom. It should be done. All I need is a single lava, and I know where to get some. That is loud as shit. Oh, I'm gonna let y'all have fun in there. I'm gonna jumpstart that shit with like a couple buckets of lava or something. There it goes. Where the fuck did I put the lava thing? I guess I'll just do one bucket then. Because all that fancy building shit is not me. I am...
Okay, I have finally returned. I am sorry for the interruption.
Oh no, I was just rambling about shit. Also, I got the foundry made. I'm just gonna kickstart it with a bucket of lava. Also, I realized I was an idiot because I'm like, wait, blaze rods don't smelt into blaze blood? And then I'm like, oh yeah. It has to be killed by a player to drop blaze rods. Alright, it's all going.
Alright.
It's all going.
It's all going.
I'm just, once the lava runs out, I'm gonna attach the pipe so it can start filling it back up. Oh, we got our first blaze.
Well, I'm going to go back to rambling about magic.
You can go do that.
Basically, if you're thinking of the magic, think of it kind of like atoms, for lack of, well, a better comparison.
Atom as in subatomic particle.
Yes. It is too small to see with the eye, as an individual particle. And your physical abilities will directly translate into magical ability. So someone with high endurance can keep their magic going on for longer. Working out will make you better at doing your magic, so it's beneficial to get stronger. However, with physical abilities, if one were to improve their physical abilities using magic, that does not increase their magical abilities.
So it's based
you
off
have to
natural,
physically tone your Yeah, it's based off of natural ability.
Oh, there's already lighting areas.
Nice.
Also, it kind of
now,
reminds
typically
me of...
one...
You're gone?
Yes?
So it reminds me of Mob Psycho 100, where this one dude like made himself progressively stronger and stronger with his psychic powers. And then this one little like gremlin of a spirit possesses this like fucking bodybuilder, and they just he just fucking dunks on the guy, and saying like, natural muscles are always gonna be like more superior to anything enhanced. Something. Anyways, go
What do
on.
you know? Anyways, one's magic typically isn't inherently stronger than another. So like a magic type would not be like inherently stronger than another magic type. It is all reflective on how one uses their magic that would affect it in the fight. If one magic and another were to directly clash with each other, it's basically what has more particles. The denser particles, like overall energy, basically, within it. We're thinking the denser particles have, like, when your magic is stronger, is denser. So you can fit more magic in an area because your particles themselves are denser. Right?
Yeah.
Shut up!
Go on. I'm sorry. Just go on.
So basically, you have your output, you have your pores across your body, and they will be able to release magic. Now, sometimes, the magic itself isn't inherently stronger than another. It's all reflected on how you use it, which I've explained. So, like, if one can summon fire, they might be able to discover a creative way to use it that would make it a lot stronger than it normally would. That is essentially the goal. You want to find the best way for you to use your power to maximize its effectiveness. You have to actually train. You are not given power, you earn it, basically. It is very dangerous if you are not careful. Literally, in many circumstances with magic in the world, when an individual is younger, parents will try and restrict the use of magic if they are not supervised because they fear the child injuring or even taking its life due to its magic. Like, main character Lodom, basically they are a shapeshifter for lack of better terms. They are a metamorph in a way. They can meld their body to their will. They, however, cannot use it to train.
Kids have the biggest imaginations or something, right? That's where this is going.
No, this is not actually where it's going. Sorry.
Okay, go on, sorry.
Oh yeah, I also forgot to explain. One also may be able to expand their magic cover several tertiary fields. It's like, how I explained before, one could be someone who can summon armor and stuff. But they might be able to use it so they can manipulate the water around them to create like a bunch of shields. Like, say rain is falling, they can create water armor. They can use that rolling rain to solidify into shields. Very dense shields. Right?
Yeah.
Or they might even be able to learn how to use it in order to use their magic to debuff another person. Experienced users, they can cover several tertiary fields. That's what I mean by finding new ways to use your ability is what makes you stronger. You have to learn, you have to experiment. You are going to get hurt, but that is fine because in an outcome you will become stronger because of it.
But that is a risk I am willing to take.
Essentially, yeah, many people die, don't worry. There's a very low survival rate.
Because I'm realizing that the fucking output of the blaze of the pipes is too low for how fast it is. Basically, it's working.
So.
Anyways, go on.
So, essentially, what you have to do, many times they'll have it where they'll watch a person when they're younger, so when they actually, their magic is growing strong enough because, baby body weak.
Yes,
so we're thinking...
Baby body weak.
Baby body weak. Which babies are surprisingly strong. Don't get me wrong, they are actually a lot stronger than you think they are, because they don't actually have the limitations on their strength yet, really.
Babies are overpowered.
But still, yeah. Nerf babies, please. Hey, hey, Earth, can we nerf babies in the next patch?
Nerf babies. What is wrong with us? Why do we find this shit funny? I feel like the more just dumbass jokes we make, the more this cast fits the name cursed.
Ah, yes, the dumbass duo.
Don't call us out like that.
Hey, if cursed is taken, there's a name.
And you're right, but still.
Anyways, going back to explaining this, they'll have to watch it when they're younger. But typically, an individual can start manifesting their magic, like actually actively start using it outside of their form, when they're like late toddler, early. I don't actually know what that stage is called. Let's just go early child stages. They're thinking
Early
maybe 3, 4 years old.
stages.
Early child stages. A child's pre-evolution. So, they'll watch the child a lot around that time. Which typically they're watching before in case, there are unusual circumstances. But,
Some hijinks.
you should be watching your child. That is something you do. They watch it a lot more because...
Pro tip, watch your children.
Yes. Because when their magic starts manifesting and they can actually, use it, if they can injure their body very easily. With Loden, since their ability is literally melding their form, one thing they have to do with their magic is constantly study biology.
Why does
they
that
have to know
me? There was one it was a kid's book where this girl's body would like transform or something, and at one point she like turns into like her room or something.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's called. I saw it at like a book fair or something.
Weird. Never heard of that one before. Okay. So, essentially, with Melodin, since, they have their physical altering abilities, they have to constantly study biology. They have to understand where the nerves are and everything else. Because they still feel the pain when their skin and bones and stuff are shifting.
Oh, I don't like
They
that
feel
imagery.
all that pain. And since, their main fighting style is using tonfas, but instead of, actually wielding tonfas, they melt it so their skin has, essentially a very hard bone. And then it shifts out of the skin and forms the tonfas on their forearms. And since, it's magic-based, it is much stronger than it would normally be if you were just do, a magic metal. Because in a way, it's like a natural magic metal in a way. Because it's like your bone and magic combined.
I never thought I'd hear natural and magic in the same sentence in this time.
So, with Loden, they had to be very careful because when they were young, if they were not careful, they could accidentally sever a nerve.
Oh my lord.
Oh, just to show exactly what's at risk. Loden, if one accident happens, they would sever a nerve and, well, that's it. Because they're, typically magic would start slowly going back and slowly replenishing and slowly fade away into the environment, like dispersing and going back to natural elements around. One moment, I'm being...
Oh, I fucking hate that imagery. I regret many things. Ending. Place failed. Shut up. Does it every time and I don't know how to turn it off. have to start making more fucking water wheels. Put that shit on. That's the wrong drawer. Barrel, whatever. Hey, what matter with Didn't the dude out here sell compasses? No, because they're all infected. I got the villager hat also, which gives me bonus, gives me like massive fucking villager discounts. You son of a bitch. I'm getting water. Nourishment. It gives you like infinite saturation as long as you're not regen. So like it'll let me sprint forever, but regen actually still uses up hunger, as you can see by the half shank that's missing. Hi y'all. Hey guy.
I am returning again, and I'm sorry for the interruption.
Oh.
So.
I didn't know that was actually a thing. On create, there's an achievement to get a 100% stress on a system.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's go on.
So yeah, with Loden's magic, they had to be very careful when they were younger because they had to learn everything about biology first before they could actively start using it, and it took years. I mean, years for them to actually be able to actively use.
Sever their nerves.
Yeah, if they were not careful, they would destroy their body. That's what I mean, yeah, you have to do a lot of study. You have to think. You cannot just recklessly do something.
I would say not with that attitude, but the fucking... the side effects are too strong.
Yeah, you could easily accidentally kill yourself. That's why you get watched so much when you're younger. Whenever they see their child's like magic start to form, and like they actually start manifesting it.
Manifesting their destiny?
Like, thankfully with Loden they could only do very weaker things at first, so like they could like slightly change their skin tone or hair color. So once they saw how their magic affected Loden's body, they're just like, okay, we're shutting this off. What they'll do is they'll put like a thin magical blanket, in a way, like on it. Yes, you get bad and naughty children get put in the magic blanket. So, I mean, that's essentially what anti-magic is. You're putting blankets on people. One would have to have Now, when they're that young, typically they aren't strong enough to actually forcefully go through that blanket. And they have to be careful with putting the blanket on, because too much force, you might accidentally damage the child. Too little force, and the child might be able to break through. I gotta let him out. I'm coming!
Anyways, I think the shit's coming around very good. I mean, it's working. We just need to...
Okay.
Hi.
So, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Don't be. That's just fine.
So, yeah, they essentially put a wrapping around the child so they don't accidentally use their power, like, recklessly and without supervision. Like, if they were had their eyes off for a moment, they would still have that blanket on so they don't accidentally damage themselves.
Transforming magic children get put in the safety blanket for everyone. For everyone's sanity.
For everyone's sanity. Because he's doing numbers on everyone.
On everyone.
On everyone. Which I'm going to use this to segue into how an anti-magic user will work. Essentially, theirs would be a metaphysical. There would be another category here that I would use, but for now, I'm just probably going to go and say like Illuminaris or something like that. But they would be an Aporium. Because they're technically debuffing the user. Now, the magic doesn't actually know these categories in nature, obviously, but people have formed these categories to make it easier on themselves to categorize. Because the magic themselves don't usually have names. Sometimes a person will name their power because things might get too specific with one or another. Because technically every magic is unique, but some magics are like so similar, like fingerprints. Every magical signature is different. Because every body processes it just slightly different, so it's like a fingerprint.
I see.
Yeah, so with anti-magic, they would use people use their magic to put essentially a blanket on a person or an area. They're essentially just strangling out the magic with theirs. It's very good at warding off other magic, is what it is.
Fucking warp type beat, fucking. It immediately made me think of fucking Bombcraft warp type beat, legit.
The moment when the when you could do anything. That's essentially what it is. So when going up another user, essentially what a person has to do is essentially whoever has the stronger, denser magic will win.
I'm not gonna make that joke.
Share with the class.
Whoever has the thickest magic wins. You told me to share, and I did.
So yeah, essentially it's two magics slapped together. Whoever's stronger is like pushing back. You know this in the anime sequence says when two energy beams shoot together,
so
and the person with the stronger one is like.
It's like the end of Harry Potter. Apparently, supposedly.
Supposedly, you wouldn't know.
No, religious household.
Imagine having religion.
Okay.
I just don't give a shit. There are two types of people. The people who care, the people who don't give a shit.
You die, you're just gonna persist out of sheer spite.
Yes. Well, I don't know whether or not those exist. As far as I know, I might go to reincarnation, but more if I just say, reincarnate the bug. Well, that's not very good. So, I might as well just sit here because this is my best option.
Just do the meme!
So yeah, anti-magic, it's essentially just whoever is stronger wins. Whoever has denser, stronger magic will win. Like, because that'll be easier to push through. So an anti-magic user would have to learn a lot about physical combat. Because they're sequences where
all
they're
they
not.
can do is throw hands.
They're really good at throwing hands.
Wait, isn't that like Naruto where like Rock Lee can't
Rock Lee?
Yeah. He can't do like the rest of the ninja magic, so he just learned the art of throwing hands.
Special ability, throwing hands!
Special ability, get fucking decked. PK these hands. PK Sig.
Gosh, we have something wrong with this.
Are you fucking done on your creative world over there?
I don't even have it open. I'll be doing it back later, don't worry. I just need to pull up the page and I will get distracted if I have Minecraft in the background, so. You know me, a bug flies out of the corner of my eye, and that's the only thing I'm going to be focusing on.
I admit, just...
Are you okay?
Maybe. Is anyone really okay? I put all my fucking cobblestone in the damn drawer. So
Cool.
I have a small dilemma.
Your dilemma is?
I set the blaze spawner to maximum like spawning output.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still on the default like detection range.
You can expand that.
But if I go in there, I am going to be fucking annihilated.
Get a lever and pray.
There is an old tradition, a game we all can play. You start by getting liquored up and sharpening your blade. You take a shot of whiskey, raise your knife and
Ruby,
blade.
that's copyright. Ruby, that's copyright. It's
Is it
copyright. Copyright. Yes!
Ah! Song belongs to Rusty Cage on YouTube. I do not own any of that except my own voice.
So he says.
Lever. Lever. Ah! I know I should have grabbed a fucking invis potion.
I'm going to do something with audio. Okay, that's good.
I have drunk the invis.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, with anti-magic, one's magic is essentially only really, like, nullified up to a certain point. Because once your magic can't really do any more for nullification, well, where's that going to come from to nullify more? They're just going, it's essentially just like, you're clogging their pores.
That does not sound very pleasant.
It wouldn't feel very pleasant either. You'd probably feel like you're covered in oil. You know, like when you're very greasy? Yeah, I'd probably feel like that.
I was spotted. A single blaze punched me. I was like, fucking Metal Gear Solid. You have been spotted. A guardian has spotted you. I'm just gonna wait for all of them to despawn this time. Because I wasted an invis pot on that.
Yeah, fair.
How long does it take for mobs to despawn usually?
Just generate new chunks and come back.
Why?
Because then it'll automatically despawn.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean like
Typically,
load
normally,
new
unless they're like just go to the Waystone, go to the swamp area, then come back.
Alright, I don't have experience on me yet, hang on.
So basically with magic, much of it is hereditary. So it's not exactly uncommon for someone to inherit their parents' magic. So like the rate of it is like for one parent is like 15%. So like for both of your parents would be around 30%. But but as it goes further down the line, the rate of inheriting magic is dwindles drastically. So like one to inherit one of their grandparents' magic would be maybe 3%, and it just starts diminishing more and more. So like you don't really, it just doesn't happen after like 3 or 4 generations back. It dwindles so much. Like it went to 15%. Yeah, I went to 15 to 1.5. So you're going like 0.15, and it just goes too far. It's not gonna happen. You're just not gonna see it. It's essentially just bred out at that point. So with all the percentages of each chance of like inheritance for both sides of the family calculated, the chance would be around like 33, 34% maybe. So like magic which isn't inherited will just come as a random chance of any type, which would be influenced by factors such as the environment or your species. In what I've just dubbed for now as species magical leaning, because I am an uncreative little fucker.
Fair enough.
So like certain species may just lean into different groups, typically secondary of magic, a full list of which I can explain now. Along with the percentages, so like, you guys can die. I'm sorry, that has no context, so that's kind of bad, but... So like, with one of the species known as Grelaire, which are like these kind of snake-like species, they're based off of snakes in my inspiration, they're kind of like lamias in the way. They would lean over to... They are like leaning over to Modus, Wendilium, and Naturalis, with like maybe a plus 2% to Modus, a plus 4% to Wendilium, and a plus 2% to like Naturalis. But they might lean away from Terra and Stildilium by like 2 and 5% respectively. Or another species, which is the Lycans, which is the species that Galvar is. They also lean towards Wendilium and Vicorious, but they are leaning away from Pyro and Aqueous with 3%, 2%, negative 3%, and negative 1%, respectively. Loden species is what is known as a Shakayan. And they're typically more... They typically lean towards, like, physicals, but also Aqueous, because Ice Magic typically falls under Aqueous.
Question, if I break the controller, will that drop all the items out of it?
Don't know. I know all, like, smelted stuff in it gets destroyed,
yeah,
like to the void.
The fluids.
Yeah, those will get to the void.
It's fucking golden skeleton guarding the damn entrance.
So yeah, with the Shakayans, they're kind of leaning away from Stildilium, and they're kind of leaning away from Wendilium because it's not with the area around which their species has like the active normally, which is mountainous regions. It's not as beneficial, so that's why. It's just not beneficial for the area which they're typically like around. Currently, the only one I actually have like fully fleshed out in terms of species is the Grelaires.
My fucking lag!
Have fun.
What are you doing?
And these guys, they're tall. Grelaires, they're tall. We're taking like a minimum height normally for a female of them would be 5'8", and like I'm around a max range of like 6'9". And males are like
Nice.
5'10" to 7'3", and then we got gnolls, which are around in the middle of that. Yeah, but they're ranging from anywhere from like 5'8" to 7'3". They're tall. And then we got people like the Fiams, which are like short as fuck. They're like 4'8" to like 5'8", I think it was. 5'10". And Draconians are kind of like in the middle. They're probably as close as you're going to get with humans. But that is not really true because they're literally covered in fur and have horns. They're based off of goats. I mean, what more
Let's
can I
just say
say?
that they're the goat. I'm sorry.
And also, another thing, typically there is something on a species' body which varies from species to species. That kind of shows off their magic in a way. In Chicayans, it's their eye, which typically is, their left. It's like their non-dominant one. It's essentially the color, and it will glow as more magic is used, and like pure. And it might slowly seep into this glare there. And so, your whole eye would glow that color. And if in extreme circumstances, your other eye may start to glow if you were a Shikayan. Now, with, say, a species like Relayer, it would be their scales. Because normally they come in all shades of color, but they're also, like, normally desaturated. So, like, if their color of magic is red, they would have, like, a dusty rose. Which a dusty rose, for people who don't know, just imagine red, but you threw a bunch of dust on it. There you go.
I don't know where my glass went.
Nice. And so, yeah, they have all these, like, each species has it differently. Considering the Lycians, their main bit is that they're winged. It's normally on their wings. With Galvar, since his magic is essentially he can make a shadow dome. He makes an area where light cannot go in.
So we just
It is
cast
essentially
darkness.
dark there. He can actually like see and understand. He's not really seeing, he's essentially feeling because it's an area of his magic. It's a magical field for him. So he's essentially seeing, in quotes there, with his magic. He can feel out where everything is. You know how Toph can use her like earth sense?
Plasmic sense.
It's essentially like that. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, it's been a while. So yeah, with his is on his wings. So his wings are like, I haven't fully fleshed out his design, so this might change. I'm either going to do like specks of it where like, or I'm going to have like certain feathers, or it's going to fade into it, or a whole wing will just be the color, which I probably would not do, but And Galvar is kind of an outlier in his culture because typically, the Lycans are like a bit more on the leaner side, but he's very buff. Like, he's a big dude. He is definitely on the taller side, so you would think, like, his wings would hinder his flight. No, because think more of, like, birds, how they're not, like, fully hollow bones, but, like, they store oxygen in it. It's like the catacombs. So, with that, here I am just ranting about this series. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it works, don't it?
I want to rant so much about this series, but I just also want to write it, but I also need more practice first and everything else.
Fair enough.
I'm probably gonna have my own podcast where I like talk about my series, so I don't have to constantly intrude another podcast just to rant about my crap.
I will make a single episode devoted to just purely your lore, so you have no choice. Uh,
So yeah, with the so at each species it would change, and as you do more, as you use more and get stronger and showcase more of your magic and your sort and stuff like that, it's more prominent. So yes, all Shikaians are technically heterochromatic.
that's the eye color thing, right?
Yes, they're heterochromatic. They essentially have one eye a completely different color than the other. They have full heterochromia. Heterochromia. I can't pronounce things. Oh my gosh.
Your brain forgot. Oh my lord. Okay.
Ah. Ah.
Join or am I just gonna be here on my
Okay.
own?
I'm sorry. I have many things to do today. Cause okay, so you see it on their species. One of the species, which I believe I call them Yervis. Yeah, they're the Yervi. Singular Yervis, plural Yervi. Yervi spelled as and singular being. Wait, I did it wrong. I spelled it wrong. There's an apostrophe in the middle. They're essentially the closest as you would have to elves in this world. And theirs are kind of like tattoos etched onto their body. One character of which is known as Zelide. If I spell this right, yes, I did. He is one of them. And since his is more electricity based, it looks like someone has like struck electricity and like etched it alongside his stomach. And since it's a very
I
proud
thought you
thing
were
to
gonna
show
just.
off,
I thought you were gonna say that it was gonna be more like those What is it? When people get like survive lightning strikes and it leaves like burns
yeah, that's
streaks
kind of what
across
it
them.
looks like.
Huh.
It literally looks like you struck wood with lightning and you see like etching
Oh, you
into
mean
it.
like how they do like the burn like the wood burn etching?
Why? Look, wood struck by lightning.
Hold on.
I'm pulling up the picture. It look it looks like this. Wait. Ah! Trying to dry this over. It's being
Yeah,
difficult.
you mean like something like this that can get an actually good resolution image.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Like
screw. I'm just screenshotting
this.
it.
Like this.
There. That's where we show the same picture. Okay. It's essentially looking like this. It literally looks like a kind of like it's etched into it. It's like reflective of their magic, but it doesn't. Normally, these like things, they don't really actually form until they start manifesting their magic, which is another telltale sign that they need to start constantly monitoring these children so they are ready to put the blanket on in case it's
they need
one
to
of
make
those.
sure that they need to make sure they're ready to manifest their destiny.
Yes.
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna
if they're
stop
not
making that
careful, they might
freaking
just
joke.
make their brain explode.
Eh.
That's also why you can't really like do something like summoning water inside of someone's lungs because you have to force your magic into their body and push past all their magic in order to manifest it there. You're not drowning them. You would essentially be exploding them from the inside out. You wouldn't be literally just You grab the pie and you just slam it full force onto the ground. And that's their body now. It Hey! It is very gruesome. There is no sugarcoating this crap. It is not sugarcoated. This is not a series someone with the life
Reminds
with a
me of
light
how
head is not gonna.
in D&D memes, like using casting create and destroy water to create water in someone's lungs, but the create water spell requires line of sight to function. Oh, I think they changed how the fuel tanks work.
Hmm.
You know how, like, if you put like a glass on the fuel tank, it would like flatten the top?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't do that.
Hmm.
I mean, it looks kind of cool in my opinion.
I just realized I never put out how to spell Shakayan.
Nah, don't. Let them figure it out.
They aren't going to.
Exactly. That's the point.
I don't know why it, recommends me broccoli. I want to Pinterest some more ideas. Hey, here's some cream of the broccoli. I cannot pronounce things, and never let me speak again. Goodbye.
Crème de la brocoli. I mean, it's French. So
Uh,
you're not going to pronounce it anyways. What?
I tried to spell goat. So instead I wrote
Grot. Hey, we're like really close to filling up a whole jumbo tank with this.
Blaze Blood?
Yes, already.
She. We're gonna have like 9 jumbo tanks just lined up.
Yeah, I got it at 100% stress capacity.
Ah. So you have all these, and it's just in here. Ayurvedi's culture, you want well since it's like tattoos, you would show off the tattoos. In many of the cultures, you want to show, and actually, most if not all cultures, you're showing off your magical mark because it is proud. People are proud of it.
Pride.
Pride.
Pride, except you don't get discriminated for against it because of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I swear, if you were about to say actually and correct me about the discrimination part, I was about to fucking
Oh no,
throw
there is
you.
discrimination. Don't worry, there's even racism.
Oh, you. Wouldn't be a magic world without racism.
I mean, it wouldn't be a world without. So yeah, they are very much so something to be proud of. Which leads me into some of the species. There are like many magical beasts in the world, and unlike intelligence rates vary. Technically, all the main species of the world are just highly advanced magical beasts. But there are some which are more beast-like, which I am actually debating on whether or not changing this and just having a separate group. But there is this other group known as, if I can go up to it, the Arthortep Pirates.
If you summon something, I'm not helping you fight it.
Yeah, and they are essentially enemies of their main enemies is on kingdom located mostly in like the coast. I don't really know how I'm going to do the area. I was debating on desert like, but I'm thinking also not in a way because this is where you find the first character, and this is going to spoiler territory, so I will not be expanding upon it. But this is my character,
So you
which
will
is
not be
probably
sharing
my
with the class.
favorite. I will
I
not
just
be sharing with the class.
I
I'm
just thought of
sorry.
something. We could probably stack more spawners in here for more blazes.
Do you want to do that?
See. I mean, is anyone gonna stop me?
Do you want to subject yourself to it?
I mean, all I'd have to do is run in there and yoink the egg once the thing's stopped. I could also hook up some wireless redstone to toggle it off.
You could. Anyway, so with these, they're very much similar to one of the species known as, if I pull it up, they are known as Vellum. And you are not going to be able to spell that.
How the fuck did you pronounce
These
that
group
again?
Vellum.
Okay.
That's why I said you are not going to be able to spell that. And then they're essentially the closest is what you get to an aquatic species in the world.
Oh, I think we're nearly
And this is where
halfway
we
full in
end.
the jumbo tank. The jumbo tank is nearly halfway full.
Oh god. Oh dear lord. This is a mix of just a gaming stream and a podcast.
It's a
Lord.
gaming podcast.
If it was a gaming compact podcast, we'd be talking about games, not my fucking magical world for 2 hours straight. And yes, we are reaching the 2 hour mark now. So, this is Verli Kingdom, and they're basically first going to start out traveling to that kingdom to go and recruit the dude. But he is known as a Valum, and they're mostly related to like aquatic. But this Thortep's pirates, they're essentially one of the put in quote unquote beast tribes. They're just species which don't care anymore. They're just like they're not the main species put in quotes. Basically racism. Haha, funny.
Uh,
You can tell how much I dislike this section. Anyways, because they look so similar to this one species in that area, in that kingdom, there's a lot of discrimination against the Valums because even though they are predominantly around that area, areas along the coast, these pirates have just been causing issues for so long. It's literally formed just distrust around everything. Like this pirate crew has existed for probably 100 years now, at least. They're old.
back in my day.
So essentially, his is a whole story that I'm so glad for his character. And he's never really expanded upon anything. never expanded upon his magic, his species, anything like that. So he is completely left in the dark because this discrimination is so strong. And he's grown up as a monk, which are normally these are type of monks that are like against violence.
Ah, the racism is strong in this.
Shut up.
Me.
And so while he is a good fighter, he's also trying to not hurt them really, like not like endanger them. And since his magic is one that is very deadly if not properly used, and if properly used, even deadlier.
So his magic is basically fuck around and find out level of power.
Well, he's he is a metaphysical aqueous aquarium, armorium. I mean,
I know those words individually.
he's essentially able to make weapons with water. And his main is, typically he has his bow staff with him. And when he presses his story, he switches over to like starting to accept more and more of himself, and start using more and more of his power. And with him, so he's like, first he starts like gently doing it. He might like put a spear head onto like he might form a spearhead using the shapes that he would form with his power onto his bow staff to turn it into a spear. He might be able to switch it into a halberd at will, and then switch it into this like chain size so like it could hook out and like sweep. Those chain swords on hook them out. It's kind of like that, but it's a scythe.
Mm-hmm.
So as he grows stronger and learns more of these fighting styles and branches out from his monk roots, he is getting actively stronger. He is one that, if used correctly, can be very powerful, but it requires a lot of understanding. That's how I want most of the matches. Can be very powerful, but requires a lot of understanding, a lot of training, a lot of study. And that's actually the end of this document that I have here because I don't actually have much at all. Heck, I don't even have I only had 3 capitals named for the kingdoms, and the kingdoms list currently are Pelican, Gurgayan, Verli, Thukian, and Fulamar. For Telican, it's Provis. For Gurkian, it's Himalaya. And for Verli, it's your main. Or your main, my bad.
Well, my parents are back.
Secret tunnel!
Shut up.
Some, like, tribes have located, like, and set up, or, like, Ungoliath and Anarathi and Yulikin. And I am going to strangle a dog, this woman, let the dog in my room, and what is the point of everything? Okay, my headphones are back on.
Well, I have a bugged tank that won't drain all of its lava.
Oh, yeah. Doobie 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 doo.
Doobie doobie doo. Where are you?
Shut up.
No.
So since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and start ranting about my characters and like their stuff.
Go for it.
So of course we got Loden, and their race is Shakayan. And for a common name for them, for like a common name of their magic, like typically people will assign like their common names, and then there'll be like their scientific names basically. Some people do, some people don't, some people just don't care. Like on official documents and stuff, you would put primary, secondary, and tertiary or tertiaries. And so what Loden has dubbed it is simply metamorphism, because that's essentially what it is. With eyes. So normally speaking, both of their eyes would appear brown. Except for their left eye, which would be slightly amber tinted because of their magic. And, you know, as they use more, it gets brighter and stuff, which I've already elaborated on. And with it, I do want to elaborate on how many different martial art references. And I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of them correctly for Loden. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
look what I put in chat.
Oh, Muay Thai, Angampora, Sayokan,
You aren't going to be able to pronounce any of them correctly either.
I'm pretty sure the more first
Just
one
show
is
it in
Muay
chat.
Thai.
I mean, yeah, you can pronounce some of them. But, like,
Vaguely.
I don't even know for most of these. I'm going to be honest. I don't know for most of these. For synopsis, Loden's final style is essentially they're using tonfas melted from their bodies to create, like, these super hard bones that don't really break at all. And they're basically just altering their bone structure the best way possible as a primary means of attack. And they're making a use of a various combination of martial arts like these, which I've shown, to complement their fighting. And they're morphing their body constantly at will in a fight to maximize their damage, but they have to be careful. They are probably one of the most talkative members of the team, like in actual fight, because it's the kind of power where you have to be calculative. They have to train themselves to be able to make the best decisions shortest amount of time. They cannot think this through. They have to be able to act on the fly, do the safest thing. And that's what kind of is into their character. They get very protective very easily later on. So, you know, they have their outfit which complements their fighting style as much as possible. They need to be light and they need to have like little clothing, but making the best of it. So, you know, you're having this light armor maybe. They cannot like restrict their movement because if they don't do it right, it might hinder their magical prowess. But for like Galvar, which I'm just gonna go ahead and name drop little Vellum dude. His name is known as Folkov, which I'll spell it out in just a second. Folkov. He's our little Vellum. And so it's difficult. Okay, it's difficult. I'm trying to get this organized to best explain. I'm thinking. Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, because mm, he's done because Loden they've done so much, and they don't want to lose what they have now. They start getting progressively more protective as the story goes on. And they typically, being the arrow ace that they are, because haha, self-insert go burr. Except they're not a self-insert. That's a different series. Come on, get it right. With it, they shit, words, where are you? How to explain this correctly? Um, hmm. It's very difficult to explain, I'm sorry. It's difficult to explain for me, at least. They have all these styles, and they have to incorporate perfectly. They have to be light, and with, we go over to 5. But since they're more of a weapon dealer, they're kind of like blacksmithing it, I guess. I don't know yet. I have a lot to iron out. He's learning a bunch of different weapon styles and learning to be very deadly, which was against his original culture, and I've evolved him enough in a way where he's probably going to be grown to my favorite character. His actual magical species things is on his quills. I say quills, it's like spines, typically, like lionfish spines. They're kind of like those, and he has like fans and stuff to help them swim, because they're a more aquatic species. And then with Galvar, his that's where it was. Okay, Galvar, he is lichen. His is a shadow dome, and he's a very big dude. He wields a great sword, and he has to. What he does is essentially he cuts off their opponent's vision and fights in there. Because if they can't see him, it's hard to anticipate their attacks. And he has his big bulky armor because he can afford it, because their opponent has to sense him, but it's hard to do because their senses are kind of distorted in this shadow dome, this lightless dome, because it's full of his magic. It's not like hindering the magic because they're kind of coexisting. Again, he's an anti-magic. It's just distorting their senses. They can't really. It's just very confusing. So, with it, I'm thinking though both Fakaiv and Galvar might be working together, and they get like a blacksmithing member kind of, and they learn how to create a good armor for Galvar that's more weightless. Because he's been so used to no one being able to expect it. I'm thinking maybe there's a secret event in the story that forces him to like it's going to force him to have to adapt to the situation. He's going to get seriously injured because of it. And so he's going to try to adapt more, and like fuck, I might even work with him, try and get it done. Since his deals with armor in the first place, they could probably work with a blacksmith in order to make this shadow kind of watery armor that would like fit be able to adorn to his form, is like a lot lighter than his previous armor was. And it could actually like protect his wings for once, because his wings wouldn't be able to support the armor before, and he can actually finally take off his armor most of the time and be able to summon it. I'm thinking. It's difficult, man. Come on.
I know the difficulties of thinking. It's why I don't do it much.
No thanks. I'm trying to cut back.
Like thoughts? No thing. Is that what you were referencing?
Yeah. Rogue.
I just thought of something that's probably a
I know.
mood.
Goose.
Many thoughts, head empty.
Yeah. But that's kind of like the basis of what mainly I have like written down and like I'm thinking about. It might change in the future. It might. But currently it is not.
Currently, that's what we're stuck with.
Yeah. I have a lot to iron out. And since I'm mostly focusing on Crescent at the moment, it's gonna take a while. But I think we're around 2 hours and 15 minutes in, Ruby. This might be a good place to stop.
You sure?
Most people. Okay, hold on. Hmm. 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 I think it's a little bit long.
Alright.
You could cut this into 2 episodes, man.
Too bad.
He's saying a podcast is a full-on.
Feature length film.
Yes.
Yeah. How you want to wrap this up?
Well, that's about all I can explain about it for now. Ruby, anything else you would wish to say?
Not really.
Oh.
Actually, I do have one. I do have one thing to say. Don't be
Hmm?
a dick